Hello everyone, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 replay. And for this match, it's going to be one of my league matches for this week at the UEN. It's going to be my Game 2 of the Best of 3 series. And my opponent this week is RevBrew, which, to my knowledge, is probably the first Masters League opponent I've faced. I am high diamond, so maybe I'm getting matches against Masters League opponents in the ladder, but I haven't really ever checked. Yeah, RevBrew is a Zerg player, and 31st in his Masters League, and he's got a pretty good win rate too. Like, any win rate you have that's above 50% is pretty good. This one looks like close to 55%, so he's definitely moving up still. Yeah, so with that, we're going to jump right into the match. Alright, so here we are on Steppes of War. This is the map I chose for Game 2. I'm the red Terran spawning in the bottom left-hand position, and the top right we have RevBrew, the green Zerg. I chose Steppes of War as it's quite a good map for Terran. There are some plus sides for the Zerg. The third base is very easy to take and hold. Just knock down these rocks with your early Zerglings and expand the creep, and you can hold all three of these bases easily. It's also quite a good map for Muta Harass, where you can come in from the top on the Terran main base. You can also come in from the bottom, as it's completely separate from the natural expansion. Natural expansion, if it were against the edge of the screen here, would kind of defend that route into the main base. But yeah, that means you can hit the main base from multiple angles. You can hit the natural expansion from multiple angles with mutas. However, the one overwhelming feature that is pro-Terran is the rush distance is very short, especially from natural to natural. You just leave your ramp here, and in no time at all you're coming up his ramp. You're basically like 2 screen lengths away, so you can do a slow push with tanks, which is going to be my plan. Obviously, I've never really implemented that before. I used to do Bio Ball versus Zerg, and then since then I've been doing my Mass Raven build. But since these are best of 3 series, I can't really do that Mass Raven build all 3 matches. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work 3 times in a row, or even twice of 3. Looks like RevBrew is here to block my barracks attempt. But now he's going to move into scout. He realizes this is far too late for a barracks, so he's going to go looking around, see if I built it inside my base. And I guess he would expect the wall off, just as Zerg is one race you probably always want to get a wall off against, especially on a map that's a very short rush distance. But I am going 15cc, and then immediately getting an SCV on that drone so it can't harass my command center SCV. Looks like he's chasing my scout all the way back to my base too, so he's actually going to have 2 harass units in my base, which means I probably should pull out an SCV to handle all this. Yeah, it can get a little hairy with 2 drones harassing. So kind of switching it up, bringing this SCV back, the weak one, and then putting 2 strong ones on his 2 drones. And looks like he's completely leaving, so I'm just heading back. And actually timed out well to throw down my engineering bay. So of course, on 18 of 19, that's when you want to have your barracks engineering bay building, and then you build your 19th SCV, and it should time well with your command center. The idea is to get your 150 gas, your command center, and your engineering bay all finished at the exact same moment. Might be a little bit off just because of all the SCV stuff we were doing there. And my command center did not finish, 98 of 100. But one more SCV, and yes, get done, and then get the SCV the heck out of here. Looks like I was pulling a lot of SCVs here just to move out to finish off his command center, but the one that completed my engineering bay was able to do it for me. And fleeing with this SCV, yeah, it's going to die, but this is like, what do we got here? This is 7 Zerglings that aren't whacking away at my fortress, which is always a good thing. I mean, that probably saved me a good, I don't know, 100 minerals and 25 gas worth of repairing that I don't have to do anymore. And I even kind of got in. If I were paying attention, I would have seen the speed was upgrading on the pool, but I doubt I noticed that. You can see that the pool does pulsate when it's upgrading. That's true for most Zerg buildings. Always look to see if they're pulsating, and that probably means they're upgrading. Testing on my ramp. I did have the door open for my transfer, so that was actually quite close. He almost got in there. But I can use these guys to repair, and then as soon as he flees, I can complete my Maynard of SCVs. A little bit late on my range upgrade, which is making me worry about a bailing bus. I'm actually sending out these SCVs because I know he pulled back with his lings, and I wanted to check to see if he was morphing them into bailings. So I didn't see any bailings there. I did lose my scout SCV, but I believe that was worth it. Had I seen bailings morphing, my range upgrade would not have been done in time, so I probably wouldn't get to pop them. So I think what I would do is just build a barracks right here. Just to buy time for this range upgrade to finish, and then I can always float that barracks away or cancel it depending on if his Zerglings come and attack it. Another option is just to put a couple SCVs on the inside of the ramp here just to force the bailings to come this way, and then they'd be in popping range of the fortress. And now I have the range upgrade complete for my fortress. I'm pretty happy. I mean, it probably covers about that much. So I can pop at least one group of bailings if he comes in for the bust. So he would have to send quite a few bailings to actually complete a bust, which I doubt he would do. Plus he has no bailings nests, but I don't actually know that at this moment. Looks like he's going roaches once again. So here I'm going to implement a little theory I had, and it's going to pan out to be pretty true. So let me ask you this: what in the Terran arsenal is the most scary unit for a Zerg opponent? I don't know this for a fact, I'm not a Zerg player, but I'm pretty confident in this, so just think, as a Zerg player, what is the scariest unit Terran has? And it may not be what you think, but I'm pretty sure it's this guy right here, the SCV, and not because of his drill, but because of the clamp. If there's one thing I've learned from Futurama, is the clamp is very threatening. Plus in Aliens, you can actually bitch slap the queen. You ever seen that movie? Good movie. No, but in all seriousness, what I'm going to do here is, see, I'm going to move out with my Marines and bring a handful of SCVs. And that's not because I can't handle these Zerglings, it's for him to see the SCVs. And why I say the SCVs are the scariest unit is because often Terran does some sort of timing push on the Zerg. And it's an all-in timing push where they'll move out with everything in the kitchen sink. And in that analogy, the SCVs are the kitchen sink. If they see you moving out with SCVs, they're almost assuming that you're just going like balls to the wall broke on this one rush. So let's check out his production tab here. You can see he has 5 drones on the way. And they're going to complete, and now I'm going to keep note of when he builds his next drone. You can see he's already up in drone count 40 to 31. We're going to put back to the production tab. He's got 2 spine crawlers coming up. He's making 8 Zerglings. Now he's pumping roaches. And this is all in reaction to seeing those SCVs. I mean, perhaps this is the time when he wants to build an army anyways, but I think a lot of this is due to seeing those SCVs push out. And it cost me almost no mining time. I just came out, did a little push, and then moved right back to the mineral patches. After you kill the Zerglings, continue forward for a little bit, just so he sees your forward movement on the minimap, and then go back to mining again. Still 8 more roaches coming out, 2 more Zerglings. I'm not seeing a single drone in this production. So that's a move I always want to do from now on. Even if I'm doing the Raven build, I'm probably going to get like maybe 3 early Marines. Because often Zerg will leave like either a small handful or maybe just 1 Zergling outside of your base just to know when you're pushing out. So it's good to fake that push. And then not only is it good to fake the push, but fake it with a handful of SCVs as well. I'm sure that will scare him even more. So more Zerglings, and I guess he finished the Spire, so he's creating a handful of Mulas just to harass, just to force some missile turrets, and to get some good scouting in, as he probably hasn't seen my base, or at least not a whole lot of it. Yeah, you can see he's only seen a limited amount. I think he was able to pull an Overlord in, which was really stupid. I should stay on top of that. Obviously you want to keep like a Marine somewhere up here and a Marine somewhere down here, because you know that's where he keeps his Overlords, is in this gap and in this gap. And still no, oh sorry, we'll watch the mutas here. Yeah, just 3 of them, so this is not a serious attempt, this is just to force missile turrets, and maybe pick off an SCV or 2 if he can. So it does pick off one SCV there and finishes... Wow, I thought that command center almost finished. This is at 25 of 25 and it's not done for some reason. Yeah, but that's the end of those Mutalisks. I think he lost maybe 5 of them. Still not seeing any drone production. Okay, obviously he's not thinking the all-in rush is coming anymore, but I'm sure that did help. And now from, what was he up, 40 to 31? Now he's down 49 to 44. Or sorry, I'm 44. Well, I brought it more or less back to even. And I think actually it was like 40 to 31. I think I went up to like 43 to 40 at one point. So now I'm getting ready for my push. I'm basically just doing my bio ball, plus I'm using my factory for siege tanks. So it's not going to be heavy in the siege tanks, but I'm going to have like a couple here and there. I do have marauders as well that will help counter the roach heavy army. And I did catch him while he's morphing his Banelings, so he's actually going to pull back and he's going to lose all these Banelings. It looks like... Oh, I'm going to leave 3 of them. That's really smart. Apparently that's another thing I learned from the original movie Alien, also quite good, is that eggs are nothing to be worried about and nothing bad can come out of them. Maybe not. I'm going to pull my Marines to the side, so hopefully I didn't take too much splash there. I don't think I did. Mostly saved my Marines from those eggs, or Banelings, but I really should have finished off those eggs. So it looks like he sniped 1 tank. And unfortunately, my macro... Well, I'm going to be bringing reinforcements somewhat, but my macro is slipping here. You can see I'm getting quite high in mineral count, and I'm going to probably supply cap myself during this push. Heavily concentrated on this area, so I'm not really going back to build supply depots. It may sound like I'm overstimming, but sometimes I've been stimming my Marauders and Marines separately. Not quite sure why I did that, but yeah, I wasn't overstimming. The other small problem is I had the starport done for a while. I wanted to pump out medevacs just one at a time from this naked starport, just to get them out quickly. But I didn't actually put it into production for quite a while, so I haven't had medevacs for this push. Even 1 would have been nice just to replenish my units between these battles. Frame rate's suffering a little bit. I apologize for that. It's a good Baneling hit, and he's sniping the tank finally. New tank's not going to get sieged up in time. Oh, and it's unsieging. Yeah, I learned something. As I said, I don't use tanks very often. Tanks are a lot like supply depots, where you do not want to spam them. If you spam the siege up button, it'll siege up and then unsiege. Just like with supply depots, if you spam the button to raise the supply depot, it'll raise it and then close it right afterwards. You gotta be careful for those commands that use like the toggle on the same hotkey. Alright, that was nice. I did let this roach get away with like 8 hit points, but look, I took out all this creep here, but I know those weren't the lead creep tumors. He's still going to be able to extend with the creep tumor he had here, and then extend with this one. So before I head back to my base, I scan the middle and I take both of them out. And now I've completely shut down his creep expansion. Had I left those, he would have continued to be able to expand the creep, and then just 1 fresh creep tumor here just to replenish like what I took out before. But now he's right back to square 1 with the creep. A little miss rally here for my barracks. Those units are going to die off without getting a single kill. So at this point I'm kind of feeling like I lost the game. That push was supposed to do all the devastating damage for me and he held it back. So now it's 3 bases on 2 and I'm not feeling very good about this. Sending a medevac around, being sure to stay out of the range of the Selnaga. I'd assume he would take it. And pulling back to my fortress, kind of one of the nice things about having a fortress when your army is much smaller like mine. And instead of him just like ending the game, I can just fall back to my fortress and stay alive and try to get back into it macro-wise. Pulling out a little bit, spotting where his army is, setting up my siege tanks. And now going to try to bait his roaches in towards the siege tanks. Take a couple shots, move back. And yeah, it looks like he was dancing a little bit there. Not very good. I think he was concentrating on hitting back here. The drop I'm completely not paying any attention to. At least there's one Marine doing something. It's kind of like a construction crew in Toronto, you know, one guy doing the work and 8 people sitting around watching. I think I did kill a couple drones though with that one Marine, and I make it out with not a whole lot. That was filled, right? So I probably lost 4 Marines. Got a good amount of tanks now though, so I think I'm going to start slow pushing forward. The idea of a slow push is just kind of make waves of tanks. Like these tanks support the next line of tanks, the next line of tanks support the next line. And it also guarantees you have something sieged up if he catches you in transit. Like here, he caught me in transit, but I just kind of moved back to these back tanks. And I'm in good shape. So doing another push, but now we are getting late into the game. We got Zerg been on 3 bases for a while, and Greater Spire has just finished. And Broodlords are pretty good at shutting down these pushes because the Broodlings, not only does it do pretty good damage and from a good range, but the siege tanks will start sieging the Broodlings, which does a lot more friendly fire than it does damage to the Zerg. I mean, the Broodlings are temporary anyway, so all you're doing by hitting the Broodlings is splash damaging all your own units. It's getting closer to line. Sending out another medevac up to this expansion, because I knew someone was there. But again, hitting an expansion that has no drones at it. I'm hitting them, like... I'm timing it not very well, because he doesn't saturate them. Next wave of tanks. This time I'm going to try to take this zone. But yeah, things are going to go badly right now. We got the Broodlords moving in. I got to unsiege, just so I'm not splash damaging myself. Yeah, unsiege and move back. Those tanks I moved in for the next layer of the slow push, they all got picked off. Now I got to move back, and now it's going to be a bunch of Broodlords supported by a bunch of Roach heavy army with some Zerglings and some Banelings as well. Oh yes, check out that drop! I think I killed 1 drone. Wow, Broodlords are sitting ducks here if I knew about it. Unfortunately, they're outside of my sight range. And I wouldn't even know that the Roaches aren't nearby anyways. So here comes attack. Again, you don't want to be sieging up. Trying to got 1 Viking out on the field. That's better than none. He's not actually attacking though. And yeah, here I'm microing my Marines separately. Keeping everything else back, hopefully keeping in range of the fortress so the fortress can help kill the Broodlings. And then every once in a while stimming some Marines and trying to snipe the Broodlords. And then pulling back when the Roaches come in to help. So it's kind of a cat and mouse game. I need to get the Marines on the Broodlords, he needs to get the Roaches on the Marines. Now this is looking amazing. I got all the Marauders and tanks on the Roaches and all the Marines on the Broodlords. That's the complete opposite of what he wanted and exactly what I wanted. And I decided to walk on top of them because why waste ammunition when you can just stomp on the Roaches? It works for the ones in my bathroom. Alright, so I do want to take out the high yield, but at the same time, like, I gotta expand, so I'm clearing out these rocks. And I swear to God, I placed 2 command centers up here, and I must have, I don't know what happened, but now I got 2 idle SCVs instead. I must have accidentally pressed S on them to stop, so I have no new command center. Really want to be taking my 3rd right now. It's gonna be interesting. I'm not sieged up, but not the best place for him to attack either. Yeah, okay, I'm winning that battle. I don't think either of us microed that very well. I think I pulled some SCVs, maybe on purpose, maybe not. Let's see if they're on auto repair. They're not on auto repair, so probably wasn't on purpose. I do have a Viking count out now to probably prevent any more Broodlords. Got 5 on the field and more on the way. And now heading to take out this high yield base. I may even pick up this medevac too. Oh, there, I got some repair going on now. That's nice. And even though my gas wasn't anywhere close to dry yet, I did float out this my orbital just to take this third. I really needed a third, and it was my only option at that point. So better to have a fresh base than basically a dried up one. So I didn't want to wait. So clearing up that hatchery, and I did spot all of those drones hiding in the top, so I'm going to finish them off as well. Kind of expecting a counterattack since I'm out of position here. This is a good spot for Zerg just come flooding in. So I am leaving all my reinforcements behind. Anytime you're not attacking towards your opponents, you're really a threat of a counterattack. That's why it's good to expand towards your opponent. That way it just makes a counterattack threat a lot less viable. Now joining my reinforcements with my original force. I got Broodlords are not going to be a factor. I don't even think he's trying for them. But I really got to stop the Viking production. Switch back to medevacs. So I got a pretty good tank setup. Getting on the ramp, pulling all my Marines back so the Banelings won't run into the Marines first. Marauders are soaking up the damage of the Banelings and smoking all the roaches. Tanks are getting free shots, completely safe. And yeah, that was about as one-sided as a battle as you can get. And Rev Brew piecemeal GG's. And that was game 2 of this series. It was casted on the new UEN channel. I'll put up the link to that. They casted just game 2 and game 3. I do warn you though, the quality's not very good, and when the actions when it's like a high action moment, it gets a little bit slideshowish, even more so than my bad frame rate. And it was done by by a new commentator, like not new to the UEN, but he doesn't commentate very often, so it's maybe not the high quality you expect from UEN, but it's still worth a look. And if you're interested, I'll also throw out the replays to game 1, 2, and 3 in my description below. And with that, yeah, we'll call that the end of this match, and we'll hop right into the thumbs up fact of the day, which is rarely a fact nor of the day. So I'm not quite sure why I named it that. Should be like tip of the video, not fact of. Anyways, all right, thank you everyone, and goodbye for now.
My patience is limitless. Release the interceptors.
Alright, for today's thumbs up fact of the day, I want to open by talking a little bit about income and what is the key factor to having a high income. Now, it's not the number of bases you have, because your bases could be dried out. It's not even the amount of minerals available. It's actually the number of mineral patches available. So say I had 10,000 minerals in that base and this base was completely dried out. That would be much worse than having 5,000 minerals left in each base. Even though it's the same total amount of minerals left, having 16 patches to mine from is much better than having just 8. So why am I mentioning all this? Well, ideally you want to mine out your bases at an even rate. And for that reason, you should always be calling down your mules on the base that has the most available minerals left over. That way you won't overmine out your first base too quickly. So for instance here, when I've just taken my first expansion, you'll notice I'll be calling on every single mule I have on my natural expansion. And you may think it may not add up to much, but if I were calling down mules in my main base, all these patches will start disappearing, and all of a sudden I'll be mining from 12 patches 10 minutes into the game instead of mining from 16. So you should really always be calling down your mineral patches on your freshest bases. And once I take my third, I'm going to be calling down all my mules on my third, and so on and so forth. The only exception to that would maybe be the high yield bases. If you want a lot of economy right now, then call down the mules obviously on the high yield patches, even though these will mine out quickly. The combination of high yield plus mules makes for an incredible short-term income. But even that is not an always thing. If, say, you have the map cut in half and you know it's going to go into the long game, the high yield's going to mine out quickly, and assuming you got like the 200 supply and you're already pooling up resources, still go back to mining out your freshest bases and leave the high yield for just SEVs. But yeah, I kind of went on a tangent there. The key ingredient, or the key fact I really wanted to say for this, is always call down mules on your freshest bases. That way you'll keep the maximum amount of mineral patches available to you for as long as possible. Oh, see, already counteracted. Why did I pick this replay to show this? Alright, don't do this. Don't call down your main base, always call down your natural expansion. The only time I call down my main is if your natural expansion is under threat of getting destroyed. You don't want to call down a couple mules and just have his army show up and destroy those mules immediately. So with that, we'll end this thumbs up fact of the day. Thank you everyone, and goodbye.